are now having to do this, and our guest this week will be TonyCottee, who we'll hear from in a few minutes' time. Hope that you and your family have all been remaining safe and secure. In our business, it's, as you can appreciate, as with a lot of business, it's just completely dead. I've been quite busy trying to arrange a tour for Dominic Cummins. Quite a nice, well, a little tour for him. It was from London to County Durham, then back to London again, then to Barnard Castle, and then back to London again. So that's keeping him busy at the moment. But it's been a strange old time, isn't it? Let's be fair. I had my son decided that he was going to do haircuts for the family, and Dad was the one he was going to do first of all. But what he forgot to do was to put a blade in the actual razor, so I ended up with a bald patch around my head like a monk. I then said, well, that's it, just cut the whole lot off, and there you are. Now today's been brought to you by the London Freight Club, and we've got to thank our sponsors who have made it possible, as with a lot of the events that we're doing this year. So we've got to say a big thank you to the UK Warehousing Association, the BIFA, British International Freight Association, DP World, London Gateway, Port Express, Young's Transportation and Logistics. I've been working with my son. He's got a pub, and we've got a sort of a bit of a takeaway business, and so every Thursday night we've been joining other people, standing outside or in the main road, clapping for the NHS workers. A couple of weeks ago on a Thursday night, we finished early, so we came home. My wife and son went into the supermarket to get some beers for the pub, and there I'm sitting in the car. 8 o'clock's come along on a Thursday evening. People started clapping, so I got out of the car, started clapping, as with other people. A few minutes later, I thought I can hear clapping again, so I got out of the car, did some more clapping again. This happened another couple of occasions, and on the fourth occasion I thought it was a bit strange, so I got out the car ready to start clapping again, and noticed there were 2 or 3 young girls with flip-flops on running around near my car, and it sounded like me clapping. How silly did I feel? Now, a bit of housekeeping. If you have got your membership to pay for this year, or notification of your membership, would ask that you contact Gordon Day, and he'll sort that out for you. On email is absolutely perfect. We are doing an auction this week, and the proceeds going to the NHS charities. We've got 3 items. The first one is this one. I don't know if you can see it there. This is we've recently celebrated the VE celebrations, and this is a Johnny Johnson, and this is the pilot, not the dam buster, the pilot who was one of the more famous fighter pilots of the war. And this is a signed presentation with an engraved plate there. You can see that, the lights on it there, with a die-cast Spitfire also in the presentation. So that's one of the items, and signed there by Johnny Johnson, one of our wartime heroes. As TonyCottee is on the show today, obviously a West Ham player, and we've got a West Ham presentation, and here we've got so Jeff Hurst. If you can see, it's a colorized image, Jeff Hurst at Wembley, and then 2 other pictures there as well. It's called Hammers, and then Jeff has signed the item, and you've got an engraved plate there as well. So that's another item. And then a few years ago, Gaza was our guest at the London Freight Club, and we've got the Gaza Tears image signed on the bottom there by Gaza, and framed as well, an engraved plate on there as well. So all those items are in our auction. If you'd like to bid on one of those auction items, it's Dave, D-A-V-E, at football1966.com. That's Dave at football1966.com. And as I say, the proceeds from that auction is going to the NHS charities. So we'd like you to place a bid as soon as you can. That'd be lovely. As a West Ham fan, the last 3 months, you know, we We haven't lost a game in 3 months. West Ham not losing a game in 3 months. And so to a man who was part of a campaign when they actually did play lots of games and they didn't lose in 3 months. And we've got a little bit of his speech now, and it's a West Ham legend and a friend of the Freight Club, Mr. TonyCottee.
Resting, and all we could hear was this commotion and noise coming from the room opposite, obviously Gazza's room. So anyway, I sort of got to the doorway, at which point there was loads of the lads actually watching what was happening, and I sort of, bearing in mind I'm small, I had to push everyone out of the way to get to the front to see what was happening. And basically Gazza our room was on the second floor, and he had the window open, and he got bars of soap from the toilet, the bathrooms, and he was sitting at the window throwing bars of soap down into the courtyard to hit the chickens up the backside. And anyway, Gazza thought this was the most hilarious thing ever. Chrissy Waddle as well, and all the boys were all cracking up laughing. And then all of a sudden, you can just feel a presence behind you. And I knew without looking, I knew it was Bobby Robson. So as I've looked round, I thought, oh no, here we go, there's big trouble here. So Bobby Robson said to Gazza, the exact words, "Gazza, what are you doing?" And Gazza went, "All right, boss." He said, "I'm throwing soap at the chickens' arses in the courtyard. Is that okay?" And Bobby Robson went, "Yeah, of course, Gazza, carry on." And he turned around and he walked out the room and just let Gazza get on with throwing the soap at the chickens' arses in the courtyard. And it was an incredible time to be a part of the England squad. And Bobby Robson was such a great manager that he knew what buttons to press and what buttons not to press with Gazza. I mentioned that I was at Everton, and I signed as a record signing for Everton back in the summer of '88 with huge pressure on my shoulders. I scored a hat-trick in my first game, and it was an incredible start. But I think after 2 years, and please forgive me if you've heard this story, after 2 years of being at Everton, things weren't quite working out for me. And Colin Harvey, the man who'd signed me, he got the sack, and he was replaced by a man called Howard Kendall, who was a great football man. But me and Howard didn't really get on. We didn't see eye to eye, and what he did was he dropped me and put me in the reserves, as you do. And we went to play in the reserves at Main Road, the Old Man City ground, on a Thursday night, pouring down the rain, and we lost 4-0. Could have been 10-0. It was an absolute annihilation. And anyway, I sat in the dressing room after the game, feeling a little bit sorry for myself. But I thought to myself, well, do you know what? You need to sort of get your head down. Ups and downs of football. Go home, have a good night's sleep, training on the Friday morning, and then hopefully be in the first team squad on the Saturday. That was the plan. So anyway, when I arrived at training on the Friday morning, there was this rumour going around about an A-team game at Morecambe on the Friday night, and the A-team is Everton's equivalent of the third team. And Morecambe was just, I just didn't want to be playing in the A-team at Morecambe on a Friday night. But the team sheet goes up, there it is, number 9, Cottee, and I think, I've now got to go and play at Morecambe in the third team. So we go to the game. I thought I'll go and do a few stretches, at least try and, prepare for the game properly. And as I was doing my stretches, I looked at the Morecambe team who'd come running out, and I noticed one player. And I looked at the player again. I thought, do you know what? I know who that is. I looked again just to make sure. I thought, yeah, I know who that is. It was my window cleaner. Now, it was funny. It was really funny. Can you imagine? I've now got to play against my window cleaner. Incredible story, but a true story. And that was after 2 years being at Everton and, playing in the third team against my window cleaner. But lots and lots of ups and downs. In the end, I ended up with 99 goals for Everton. And the reason I've mentioned that is because, as I said at the start, with my youth days, I scored 99 goals. I had 4 games to get it when I was 9 years of age. At Everton, I had 6 games to get my 100th goal, and I never got my 100th goal. And again, does it annoy me? Yes, it does. I so wish that I joined the 100 club. I think there's only 9 players that have done it for Everton, and I would have been the 10th. So, a real regret for me. But I had a wonderful time at Everton. I then came back and signed for West Ham, and I mentioned Harry's heroes, and I thought I'd share a little story about Harry Redknapp that you probably wouldn't have heard me say. And this concerns a game at Southampton and at the Old Dell, which was a great football ground to play at. And we was leading 1-0 in this game back in the mid-90s. And Don Hutchison, who was a good player for West Ham, he was on the field of play, and he let his runner go down the left-hand side for Southampton. and he's run down the wing, he's crossed the ball over. Matt Letizia scores for Southampton, 1-1. We've dropped 2 points. Bearing in mind we was in a relegation struggle. So we've come in after the game, and Harry Redknapp straight away has steamed into Don Hutchison, as managers used to do in those days. I'm not sure they could probably do it now, but he did in those days. And he said, Hutch, what was you doing? You let your runner go. And Hutch went, no, he wasn't my man. I wasn't marking him. And anyway, this big argument went on for about 2 minutes. And in the end, Harry Redknapp, now bearing in mind, these are really, really small dressing rooms at the Dell. In the middle of the dressing room is our skip, which normally has all the boots and balls in. On top of the skip is a plate of ham and tomato sandwiches. And in the end, Harry Redknapp got so frustrated, he picked up the tray of sandwiches and he threw them above Don Hutchison, not at Don Hutchison, but threw them above him. It hit the wall, the tray of sandwiches, and all the ham and tomato sandwiches have rained down. Now, this would have been really funny if I hadn't been sitting next to Don Hutchison. I got absolutely peppered, and ham and tomatoes all rained down on top of me. And I think, oh my God, please shut up, Hutch. Let's just get home and get on the bus. But that's what it was like. I think there's a famous story about Fergie kicking a football boot, hit David Beckham. So, you know, the tempers and everything went on back in those days in the dressing room. And, you know, it was always a fun place to be when you'd won the game. But if you'd drawn the game like we had, or you'd lost the game, then it wasn't a good place to be. But I had great times back at West Ham. I then went to Malaysia. I'd love to say it was a great footballing trip, but it wasn't. It was a good holiday. I had lots of fun trips to Australia, New Zealand, and lots of places. But football-wise, it wasn't good. And then I came back to Leicester and had 3 wonderful years at Leicester, which culminated in me winning the Worthington Cup, or the League Cup as we now call it now, back in 2000, and a few other things that went on as Leicester as well, some great times. And I had a really, really good, wonderful time at the football club. I just thought at this point, you know, after giving a little sort of resume of my career, really, that, you know, just had such a fantastic career. I played football at the highest level for 20 years. I scored 306 goals in 714 games. I won 7 England caps. I won the PFA Young Player of the Year award in '86. And I ended up with 223 top flight goals, which is the 17th highest total in football history. And not even Thierry Henry, Wayne Rooney, Sergio Aguero, Frank Lampard, and none of those guys have scored more top flight goals than me. And the only reason I'm saying all that, not because I'm showing off, but I just thought it was a fair point to make for someone so small who was never going to make it because he was too small. And at the end of my career, I just loved the fact that I can look at those achievements and I can look back on them now with great pride. I did mention, just finally to finish, that how you can correlate sport with life. And
Tony,
when I met my dad when I was 13 years of age.
Tony,
sorry,
Tony,
yes, Dave.
hold on a sec. We've got Mary Dunn's got a microphone on, and we can hear her eating.
Oh, sorry.
Sounded like he's doing the cooking, Dave. So that's okay. Dave, I'm literally going to read out my poem, which I've got here. Look, I printed it off. It's not a long poem, but when I sat down with my dad and we spoke about the challenges of being a footballer, I found this poem in Shoot magazine. I just thought I'd share it with everyone because it's called Sport and Life, and it is relevant to sport and to life. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you'd like to win but think you can't, it's almost a cert you won. If you think you'll lose, you've lost. For out in the world you'll find success begins in a fellow's will. It's all in the state of the mind. Think big and your deeds will grow. Think small and you'll fall behind. Think that you can and you will. It's all in the state of the mind. Sporting battles don't often go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. It was just a wonderful poem that I shared with my dad, and on my 18th birthday, they got it and they gave me a gold-plated plaque. It's still upstairs in my trophy cabinet, and it's something I do look back and reflect on. And I just thought I'd share that with everyone. So, like I say, it's a little slightly different speech to what I would normally do, Dave, but I think it's probably everyone would agree that they don't want to hear the same old boring stories from me. So hopefully you've enjoyed my speech. So I think we're going to do a few questions now, Dave, aren't we, if we've got time?
We've just got 5 minutes left, I understand, for before they cut us off. 4 minutes, 52 seconds. So before we just do that, we've got to say thank you to our sponsors today. That's Biffa, DP World, London Gateway, Port Express, Young's Transport and Logistics, UK Warehousing Association, and yeah, of course, the London Freight Club as well. We are doing an auction today. Is on your email, and the proceeds from that are going to the NHS charities. And Terry, can you turn your microphone off, please? Terry's iPad. Thank you very much. Okay, Tony, very quickly, we've got 4 minutes to go. If you had a different West Ham team that you could have played with, apart from the ones around your sort of time, who would you like to play with? Would it have been the Bobby Moore era, or would it have been the latter era, or the current era? Which team would it have been?
I think probably the 60s team, Dave. I mean, you know, the 80 Cup final team was a great team, but I played with half of those: Albion, Jeff Pike, Ray Stewart, Phil Parks, Anna Devonshire. I played with those guys. The 75 team, I don't think was quite as good as the 80 team. So I would probably transport myself back to the mid-60s and the legend that was Bobby Moore and Jeff Hurst, Martin Peters, you know, Johnny Sissons, Peter Braybrook, all these wonderful players that played. And I think it's important to remember what West Ham achieved. They won the FA Cup in '64. They won the Cup Winners' Cup in '65. We all know what happened at Wembley in July 1966 with the West Ham players. And then they got to the League Cup final in '67. So that was a real dominance of West Ham in terms of achievement. And that would probably be the team that I would like to go back and play in, Dave.
Do you think that you possibly could have made the 1966 World Cup squad?
I don't know. It's that old argument, isn't it, about different eras and different players. But you know, I look at players like Bobby Moore, and I mentioned the great Jimmy Greaves, and you know, many other players that have played over the course of the years. And I honestly believe that those players could have played in modern day football, Dave. I really do, because technically they were so good. Bobby Moore was so good. Jimmy Greaves was the ultimate goal scorer. So I think they could have. George Best is another one who springs to mind. Duncan Edwards, if you go back even further. I think these players could have played in the modern game. So I'd like to think that I could have gone back and at least have been a part of the '66 World Cup squad. And you know, hopefully one day we will win something, and you know, we can put some other players. I know we got close back in 2018, the semi-final. But hopefully one day we'll get close to winning the trophy.
All right, lovely. Okay, well, my time is telling me we've got 2 minutes left, and I'm scared.
Well, let's hopefully see everyone at the Freight Club soon, Dave. Thanks for listening, everyone.
No problem at all. Thanks very much to TonyCottee for helping us to try to get through something a little bit different today. We were scared of technology, not so much of nerves of doing the gig, but certainly of technology today. I think we've just about got through it. Once again, thank you to those people who've joined in. Don't forget to bid on our auction items, which you can find on your invitation from Gordon. A mention from Gordon, if you've got your membership subscription you've got to sort out, please contact him. And we really hope that next time we can see you, it'll be live. If not, we will try and do this again. Stay safe with your family. I'd like to wish you a very good night. And thanks again to TonyCottee.